It was Christmas break 2013, and I was a freshman at New York University. My family lived in Bulgaria, a small Eastern European country, and I'd been counting down the days to surprise them for the holidays. I can still feel how bittersweet it was to leave the vibrant, fast-paced city for the comfort of home. It was late at night when I arrived at JFK Airport for my long-haul flight. The air buzzed with that unmistakable pre-holiday chaos. Suitcases being dragged, families reuniting, and announcements echoing overhead. After hours of waiting through delays, frustration slowly gave way to excitement as I finally boarded the first leg of my journey to Istanbul. I couldn't wait to hug my mom and little sister again. I'd assumed that the 8-hour flight would pass uneventfully, but sometimes life has other plans. At 5 feet 9 inches and barely 140 pounds, I've never thought of myself as physically intimidating. But as I looked around the cabin for my seat, my stomach sank. I was placed in the middle seat between two tall, broad-shouldered men. One of them was quiet, kept to himself, scrolled on his phone. But the other? From the moment I sat down, something about him felt wrong. He was fidgety, constantly mumbling under his breath, scratching at his skin and shifting in his seat. Every now and then, his arm would nudge against mine, and though it could have just been accidental, it didn't feel that way. My discomfort only grew as I kept catching him staring at me, expressionless, cold, intense. I tried to brush it off. After all, airports and flights stress people out, right? Maybe he was just socially awkward or tired. Still, I couldn't shake the gnawing unease clawing at my mind. Halfway through the flight, the man broke his silence. He leaned in slightly, pointing to my screen. I had been watching American Horror Story Asylum, one of my go-to shows for long trips. What came next sent a chill down my spine. I think it's ridiculous how people judge murderers who skin others alive. He smiled. Not the warm, casual kind of smile, but something far emptier. Aren't we all capable of that in some way? I froze. My brain struggled to process his words, searching for a normal way to respond. I forced a nervous laugh, murmuring something sheepish as I turned my body slightly away from him. But inside, my anxiety redlined. The rest of the flight was unbearable. I remember sitting rigidly, hyper-aware of his every movement, too scared to sleep. I gripped the armrests so tightly, my knuckles turned white. I just wanted the flight to end. When we finally landed in Istanbul, I have never moved so fast to get off an airplane. I practically sprinted through immigration and baggage claim. Somewhere between the terminal and the arrivals gate, I let out a shaky breath, telling myself it was over. I remember the weight of relief as I left the airport and hopped into a cab. For the next few weeks, I was home. I embraced the warmth of familiar faces and laughter, filling my childhood home. The unsettling experience on the flight, while haunting, slowly faded to the back of my mind. Looking back, I was naive to think it was over. It wasn't. Fast forward to mid-January. Holiday break was over, and I was back in New York. One uneventful afternoon, as I was unpacking my tote bag back in my dorm, I noticed something strange. A folded piece of paper shoved into a pocket I hadn't checked in weeks. The handwriting was jagged and uneven, like it had been rushed or written with trembling hands. As I unfolded it, I felt the blood drain from my face. "I wish I could see what you look like under your skin." I sat there, heart hammering in my chest, nausea rising. My knees felt weak as I pieced things together. That man, the seatmate from hell. He must have slipped this into my bag when I wasn't looking. The shock and paranoia stayed with me for weeks after discovering that note. But the final, horrifying confirmation that sealed everything came a month later. My younger sister, who had heard me talk about the flight, sent me a news article. The headline alone made my stomach drop. Suspected serial killer arrested in Istanbul. Man accused of rape, murder, and kidnapping. The image attached to the article, it was him. The man I sat beside on that flight. The man who talked about skinning people alive like it was casual dinner conversation. My hands trembled as I read further about his crimes. He'd been on the run for months, evading authorities across multiple countries. And here I was, weeks earlier, sitting next to him on a packed plane, within arm's reach of someone capable of unspeakable things. Looking back, Those 8 hours haunt me. I don't know what his intentions were that day. If I sat too close to danger without realizing how thin the line between safe and not really is. What I do know is this: trust your instincts. Sometimes the uneasy feeling in your gut isn't paranoia. It's a survival mechanism trying to warn you. That flight changed me in ways I still can't fully articulate. It stripped away a layer of naive confidence, replacing it with a sharper awareness of just how unpredictable this world and the people we share it with can really be.